In this lesson, we're going to learn about the freeform drawing tools that are located in the toolbar of Adobe Rome. The freeform drawing tools that are located in the toolbar are very similar to what you saw with the shape tools, with one important difference. In addition to the flyout that lets you choose different types of tools, the tools also come with some options available by way of a second flyout. So the top flyout there provides the option to shift between a brush tool, a pencil tool, and a pen tool, and then the bottom option lets you make some additional choices. All right, so let's start with the vector brush tool. And of course, vectors are mathematical equations, and they define a path on the canvas. Now, the vector brush tool that comes with Adobe Rome has got some very interesting options available to you. Let's take a look, first of all, at the different shapes that you can choose from. Kind of cool here to be able to have some different brushes available. Simply selecting on them brings those brushes into the interface, and you can choose different blend modes, and of course you can choose different colors. And let's see, I think I might want to go with a star shape here. You can also set the size by directly typing in. I'm going to go to 12 pixels here. You can change the angle of the brush, or of the brush that's going to be applied. And these are done again by typing in directly into the interface. So I've got my brush tool here set the way I want it, and now I'm going to just brush out my little set of stars on the stage. So you kind of see what happens when I brush with that particular shape. Because it's kind of tight, I'm going to get a whole bunch of stars that really don't end up looking like stars. Now, I'm going to use that technique again. We call this marqueeing, when you take and draw a selection around a big chunk of your canvas. And let's try to go with a little different shape here and see if we can get some better results. Let me spread that out a little bit, cut back on my angle. 5, and see if I can't get a little better look to this particular shape here. Okay, let's see, there we go. Kind of like that a little bit. Now notice again, you've got the options here now. When I click in the preview button, I can rotate things around, I can change the angle, I don't have to directly type in here. And now, because I've got a nice big size, when I come out and start drawing, I'm going to get some really interesting looking things going on my canvas. All right, so that's the vector brush tool. Now, you don't have to do all that fancy stuff with the different shapes and the brushes and all that kind of thing. Again, you can just go with a standard shape, like a circle. Okay, just reduce the size, and now you can just draw an object on the screen. Okay. All right, so that's the vector brush tool. So again, from the options here, we also have the pencil tool available to us, and as with the vector brush tool, we're going to have some options available, not quite as many. The pencil, basically what it's going to do is going to draw a line. You're going to just drag out a line with your mouse, and if you want to make changes with what you've drawn with the pencil, you're going to have to use the selection editor to do that. So I'm just going to draw a line around here and see what kind of results we get. Okay, so pretty cool, pretty basic, not that difficult to use. Let me just go ahead and marquee my canvas so I can clear everything out. And we'll slip on down to the third option, which is the pen tool. Now, the pen tool is a very complicated and fearsome kind of application. Many people really get excited and are worried about using the pen tool, because unlike the brush tool and the pencil tool that we just saw, you don't simply click and drag across the canvas to create a line. The pen tool is a precision tool that allows you to place individual control points and individually control their behavior or their attributes by how you move the tool. So let's take a look at the pen tool in its most basic form. Let's say I wanted to draw a triangle. I would select on the pen tool, and then I would click and release, click and release, click and release, and then I'm going to close up my circle, or close up my triangle here by moving my pen tool to my starting point. And you see the little circle that appears lower right hand corner that indicates if I click now, I've now completed my shape. Okay, so that's your most basic operation of the pen tool. But the pen tool can also be used to draw curves, and these are called Bezier curves. And to draw a curve, what we're going to do is I'm going to click and then drag, and you'll see what happens is these little Bezier curve handles appear, little antenna that appear from my control point. So there's my control point, and these are my control handles. So now when I click and drag a second time, I'm going to see a line begin to form between my points. And I'm going to click and drag, and you see the plus sign, the cursor there. Got to get a sense for what's happening when I drag in a different direction or at a different distance. I can make my curves longer or shorter. I can make them move from one direction to the other, and when I finally release them, I'm going to get the curve that I ended up defining by how I drag those handles from my control point. So I'm just going to draw again a kind of a freeform shape here and finish up with sort of a blob. Now, the pen tool is very handy because it allows you to get those control handles in place. And if I go to my path selection tool, remember that guy, I can now come back and I can do more advanced operations. I can do additional edits with these control handles and the Bezier curves on my shape that I created with the pen tool. Okay, so 3 freeform tools for drawing, and we'll see some practical applications of these as we move along. The vector brush tool, the pencil tool, and the pen tool all have different uses, all really great tools, and are a great way to get students started in learning how to draw in a graphics application.